This comes at the request of my sister's friend. Well, kind of. My sister actually sent me a text message, and I kind of want to show you it. It's one of my sister's friends. And I told her okay, it's just some other crap that my sister's friend is just on about. It's kind of pink. I don't know what I'm doing. Anyways, guys, this is actually the film I'm reviewing is the one with the poster in the background. Love and Mercy, directed by Bill Pohlad, written by Oren Moverman and Michael Allen Lerner. Is that right? I don't even need to look up online. Just look at the poster. It stars Paul Dano, John Cusack, Paul Dano, Elizabeth Banks, Paul Giamatti. Who else? Well, that's what on the poster. Score, director of photography is Robert Yauman, who actually was the cinematographer for Grand Budapest Hotel, which is one of my favorite movies of the year. Also, I love his use of symmetrical framing. He's truly one of my favorite. He's a great composer. Was there something like that in this movie? Not that I can recall. It is also scored by Atticus Ross, who has collaborated with David Fincher, I think, twice, like 3 times before. Also with Trent Reznor on Social Network. 5 out of 5. Girl, Dragon Tattoo, the remake, I didn't see it. And Gone Girl, 5 out of 5. Yeah, that's cool. This movie is it's a review, and it's about Brian Wilson, who is one of the co-founders of the Beach Boys. It's just his life going, like, I'm gonna look it up right here, because I mean, this poster doesn't really say really anything, it doesn't tell a story, though, really. I mean, actually, I'm gonna show you the poster, but while I'm going to start, I'm gonna show you the poster in detail while I look it up. I'm gonna go back to that one just in case you didn't see anything. This focus sucks, you know that? Yep, that's cool. Hold on a minute, guys. I'm gonna. Never mind. See, it's about it's a biopic on Brian Wilson. I mean, going through, his early days. I mean, you can see him you could tell he had a bit of a. I never knew much about him because I'm not a huge music guy. This is a great movie. I will say that. If you want to be more specific about him, when he was, when it really takes place. Also, according to what I heard in here, it's based on this thing called Heroes and Villains, which was the original script, actually. And Oren Moverman rewrote it. I've never really seen any of his films, but I know he's collaborated alongside Woody Harrelson a couple times, I believe. And also, he is making a few other films, I think, later on, that I guess I know that I have something about. Okay, talking about 2 different time periods. It has a parallel narrative switching back and forth between these two, 1960s and 1980s. So you have Paul Dano and John Cusack play him. Paul Dano obviously in the 60s era, Cusack in the 80s. Elizabeth Banks is this person she sells him a car that he's looking for, that the John Cusack is looking for, and they start going out, and of course she gets to know her, but also she also is scared for him because of his psychologist, played by Paul Giamatti, who you may say plays Paul Giamatti, going crazy, explosive, but he's a psychologist that's just abusing him, and of course you may know that he didn't have the best life. Now, this movie got good reviews, and I was looking forward to it. And I am a fan. I'm not the biggest fan. I've seen some of John Cusack's films. I've seen High Fidelity. I think it's a great movie. 5 out of 5. It's one of my favorite romantic comedies of all time. It's a really good movie. I haven't seen all his films. I've seen Hot Tub Time Machine. I thought that was pretty cool. But I've never seen every one of his films. I have to agree that High Fidelity is one of his best performances, and I know he's collaborated with like Stephen Frears. I think once before, like in a movie, like I think I called it Grifters or like Gross Point Blank. I don't know which one. Comment below. But one minute. It's yeah, it's a pretty interesting movie. I wanted to see this. I wanted to see this after seeing the good reviews for it, and it was nice on the fact it was playing in Santikos. Is there blood on my nose? Alright, you don't want that. Sorry. And it's about his life, basically, the 60s. I mean, in fact, he goes through certain stress, and he starts producing music, really, like, at his house while the Beach Boys still go on tours, because, I mean, he has paranoia. There's, like, one scene where he's on a plane, and he goes through paranoia. It was really well handled, I can give it that. Yeah. The acting is really good. I do have to admit that this actually has an award, I think possible Golden Globe or even Oscar-worthy performance from John Cusack. I mean, he plays this guy who's just damaged. He's paranoid. He is afraid of his psychologist. He's really damaged as a person. I mean, he's scared. And he really is. And the only person who can really help him is Elizabeth Banks. Elizabeth Banks is a great supporter for him. I mean, she is a good friend to him. She's a well-developed character, and I do enjoy their chemistry together. They're great when it comes to chemistry. They offer some fun moments, but also they are great in the dramatic scenes. I mean, Elizabeth Banks is getting bigger and bigger all the time. Well, I don't know what I'm saying by that, but you obviously know. I mean, director for Pitchfork 2, 3.5 out of 5. Sorry, 3.5 out of 5. Yeah. Paul Dano, I do like him as an actor. I haven't only seen all his films. I've seen Little Miss Sunshine and There Will Be Blood, which I think is a real masterpiece of filmmaking, especially when it comes to independent epics. You see epics produced on distributed by a mainstream studio, produced by a mainstream studio, but also like just you almost see them made by an independent studio. And this is undeniably a great film. My favorite performance from him, and undeniably Paul Thomas Anderson's masterpiece. 5 out of 5. I will do a review on that sometime. I love that movie so much. Yeah. They give good performances. Like Paul Dano offers up a guy who has issues relating towards. You can tell like when he was a little bit messed up when it comes to like noise. Because I mean, there was one scene where there was like noise playing around. He freaks out, and it was pretty holy shit. But also, there's even one scene where he's conducting. Where he's like doing the conducting music in a studio, and I have to admit that was actually pretty creative. I actually like that. He really sells the role. I mean, he sells the role as this younger version of Brian Wilson, who just loves producing music, but he also has that damaged side behind him. In fact, he just struggles like keeping himself really together mentally, I guess, like something like that mentally, and it really is just like he could see like the struggle in him. I mean, like his trying to get approval from his father, knowing the fact that he never had the best childhood, and knowing the fact like how it affected him. But it's more evident when you see with John Cusack's side in the 1980s, because I mean you really see it hitting him, especially when you have an abusive. In fact, he's abusing. Like unfortunately, he's a psychologist. I think psychologist. Let me look it up for a minute. Paul Giamatti plays him. I think he's frighteningly. This is actually really a performance, but he's so frightening. 'Cause I mean, not only he's kind of explosive, but at the same time, he is abusive as hell. It's just unsettling. Sometimes it's really unsettling. Actually, the real life Brian Wilson, he had little involvement in this, and he said it was very factual. So I guess I could say it's pretty accurate. His therapist is just so incredibly crazy. I mean, not only is he going crazy and mad, but he also is just forcing and manipulating him, and he really is torturing him. It's just kind of like how his dad was. I mean, like what his dad did to him. We learn about that in the film, and to be honest, even though it's rated PG-13, there are some scenes I can say that are sometimes could be a little bit too hard for you. There's even one scene involving him. And this one time with him trying to get out of bed, and there's just like this one vision involving like seeing visions of other people and even himself. It was really different. It was kind of odd, but at the same time, I thought it worked well. I did think there's some unique metaphor behind it, but I think it's more up to the viewer's imagination. I don't really want to spoil it. I don't give away some things for you, but I do. But if you are really think I'm spoiling, I guess for you, try and come to this with an open mind, because I think you might really appreciate this film, even if it might be a little bit hard for you. Even for a PG-13 movie, you got to give it some credit for that, for really trying to use the rating and really, like, for doing the best what they could do with the rating, like going as hard as they can, make it as raw as they could. It's pretty clever. Paul Dano's also pretty good. He even does some singing by himself, and he's pretty good. He sometimes does his own vocals, and I have to admit, he actually is pretty good. He actually has some sort of singing side to him. It's pretty cool. I never expected that. It's kind of like Haley Steinfeld, like Pitch Perfect 2. I mean, first off, she debuted with True Grit. I have not seen the original with John Wayne. I'm probably gonna get hate for that, but I do love the Coen Brothers remake, and she was great in the movie. And I bet she actually could sing. Pretty cool, actually. I see her in musicals, probably. But Paul Dano does look like he could have some sort of musical career, though I'm not sure if that is the case. I don't even know, because... But I do have to admit, is this my favorite performance from Paul Dano? Maybe. In terms of in terms of like how he can balance out his character, like this, like his joyful personality, also how he just like conducting music in some of these scenes, like doing pretty good. Bill Pohlad does a pretty good job. I mean, he managed to do some pretty good shifts back and forth between the storylines. He does it at the right times. I think they come at the appropriate times. The editing is pretty good, and I do think it's pretty cool. And the score, I do like it. And you even hear, Surfing USA. I think it's the title of the song. Comment below if I pronounce it wrong or if I missed some aspects of the title. Just say below if I pronounce it wrong. That's if I did. And I liked hearing it. One thing that's kind of weird is I saw my grandpa and he fell asleep. He found it very draggy. And, yeah. And you can say the ending's kind of like any other biopic, how they just kind of give us all that lead into what's their current situation now, if they're alive or dead, what their life is now, that kind of shit. Paul Giamatti's frighteningly very good. This is one of his best performances. I haven't seen a lot of him. I've seen Cinderella Man, Sideways, another 5 out of 5. I don't want to keep showing it because it's getting stupid to the point where you're just like, whatever. He also, I haven't really seen him in anything else, but this is one of the best performances. He is just so shockingly, he's really good in the role, and it's really shocking. His character is mad. He has such an awful temper, and he says a lot, and he's crazy as hell. Seriously, he's a fucking therapist? Damn. It's just not it. Sometimes it can be a little unsettling times, and maybe a little hard to watch, which I can understand if you're not easy at stomaching some certain things like that. It's kind of like Gravity with a PG-13 rating, yet seriously, that shit, my stomach actually dropped one time when I was watching on TV. That was on TV. I saw it in a goddamn theater the first time. You guys know it's a 5 out of 5. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. I actually would love to have a poster in there, in my room. It'd be kind of cool. Luckily, I have this for the movie itself. Luckily, I have this for the movie that I'm reviewing right now. This is a pretty good movie. It's one of my favorite movies of the year, one of my favorite biopics of this decade. My favorite is The Social Network. Come on, man. Don't get me wrong. Even if those factual inaccuracies have been made up for it, but some incredible rapid-fire dialogue. That's obviously Aaron Sorkin's dialogue. David Fincher's great direction, beautiful cinematography from Jeff Cronenworth, a good score from Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross. Great cast. So I guess it's very factual from what Wilson said, even though he had no involvement in this. I already said that, but I'm just restating it. Performances are really good. Oscar worthy. I think John Cusack probably gets one of, if not the best, but probably the best performance of the career, best performance I've seen from him so far. Because he is just great in the movie. You see him as this tortured soul. Because it's really where the tortures of his past is really coming thanks to due to the awful abuse he's suffering from his therapist. It's truly shocking. And you see his deterioration. You see some bit of joyful spirit, and you can see oh, he still has that spirit in him from back in this when he was composing music. But the problem is though, it's he's almost long gone due to this torture, psychological torture he's being put through by his therapist, who just, holy shit. It's a really interesting thing. It's very interesting. Sometimes it can be a little hard to watch at times, but it is insightful. It has some very well developed characters, and really does. I think for what I've seen, it does justice to his legacy, and I think does well with exploring his life, the good and bad part, the highs and lows of it. And the lows may be a little hard for you to stomach at times, especially if you're not into a lot of psychological abuse. Nothing like a lot of yelling, basically. You may see some sense of physical abuse in the movie. I'm just hoping that you could stomach it. It's not like it's incredibly hard to watch. It's not rated R. It's not gory, but how they executed it is kind of rude. It's kind of, oh shit. It's not it's so incredibly shocking. It's just, oh, it's just it's this surprise that you just don't want to, that you just wish never happened. It's not a bad thing, but it really should. I think it does a good job shooting back and forth between the story between the 1960s and the 80s. It has good time with its parallel linear, like this parallel storytelling. It does it in a linear fashion with both of them, and I think it's handled well. Great performances from this movie. Could be an Oscar contender for all I know. I wouldn't be surprised if it was, but we still have. But you know, who knows what we'll have come Oscar season. You know, like December, or like November, with all the like the holiday season, with all these new like movies that are trying, you know, pushing out to get like, you know, qualify for Oscar season. There's some looking forward to. You know, Star Wars Episode 7, The Revenant, which is Alejandro Gonzalez Inarritu's newest film, starring Leonardo DiCaprio and Tom Hardy. I actually saw Beautiful, which is starring Javier Bardem. I think it was taken off Netflix probably today, because we'll be taking off. Well, it's 11:32. I don't know if it's the 28th. Okay, it'll be the 28th in 28 minutes. So unfortunately, you may have to say goodbye to that. But at least I got to see it. I think it's like either a 4 or a 4.5 out of 5. It's just I own Birdman. I just haven't watched it yet. But anyways, guy, what do I give this movie? It's a well-made movie. It has some cool production design. Has some solid production design. I like listening to some of the music in this movie. Great performances from the cast, and I think it does. And from what I've seen, and from what Wilson said about being factual, I think it does justice to his legacy. And overall, it is a movie that may require, you may need to have a bit of a stomach, you may have a bit of a hard stomach for, but I think you might like it, and you may find it a good biopic, especially if you're a fan of the Beach Boys, and if you know a lot about his life. 5 out of 5. I mean, it's not fantastic by any means, but I didn't find any real flaws with it. I thought it was well done. It did surprise me a bit, and it surprised in a good way. Usually it was a little shocking. But overall, I could say it is a good film, and I do recommend it. Alright guys, so my review for Love and Mercy. Comment below what you think about it. What's your favorite biopic of this decade so far? What's your favorite biopic of all time? Maybe mine's Social Network? I haven't seen a lot of biopics. I know I saw Cinderella Man. I think that's a count. That does count as a biopic. No, that doesn't count. Does it? I'm gonna look it up. I'm amateur, guys. Like I care to edit my reviews. I can try to edit one clip together, but overall, what do I care? I'm just a guy just doing this shit because he loves it. It's not incredibly devoted to it, so you know, like editing and shit. Oh, it was Spider True Story. Okay, great movie, though. Why didn't do that great at the box office? It sucks. Yeah. Anyways, what's your favorite Beach Boys song? I never really saw it. I mean, anyone knows Serving USA because it's a classic song. Whatever. Anyways, guys, comment below and subscribe to my channel for more videos.